Finally, live from the city of Los Angeles. It's your boy. Once again, we are back on a Tuesday at 5. It is May 21st, 2024. Time is moving along, man. This is your boy, Dwayne Cofield, host of Drug Leaders to Businessmen. This is the weekly tap in, and I am tapping in. Hope all is well. Get my mic together a little bit more, man. What's happening? Wait for a few more people to tap in. Those who are listening from all over the world, we certainly appreciate you, man. I know it's been some time, but man, we are constantly tapping in, man. I know we're competing with a lot, but it doesn't matter because our message is, how should I say, timeless. This is episode number 22 of season, what are we in? 5? Gotta be. This is crazy, right? Um, I don't think we're in, yeah, man. Who cares, right? But I know this is episode 22, but nonetheless, we're talking about no's, not right nows, and delays, man. And how a lot of times, man, because again, we talking about lenses, it's really difficult for us to see things that are actually in our favor or benefit us, right? So tap in and make sure if you guys are just tapping in for the first time, put your name, your chat, where you're tapping in from. We certainly appreciate this. Spread the message. If we reach one, we reach them all. So share this with somebody who can use it, man. We always try to drop a message. And more importantly, we drop a book. I think that's the true value of this exchange with us on a weekly basis. It's not so much of what I'm saying, but it's more or less talking about the books. Because what I get from the books on a weekly basis, right? I try to share with you guys, and then I try to share where you can actually get the book. So we'll do that as well. So hopefully everything's been going well with you guys, man. I've been going through a lot, but I've been learning a lot. So I had to change my perspective on things. I was talking to my son about something. I said, son, I said, immigrants, man, when they come here, they are so excited about things. I said, I said, one of the things about us, I think as just, I don't want to say just, I don't, I'm trying to think of how to say this properly, but just our appreciation for things. I had to get in appreciation mode because I was getting real sour about things. I was kind of down on things. And I'm like, man, but we got it so good here. You know what I'm saying? You looking like, what's going on overseas, and you look at, things that you hear about in the streets. You see people that are not necessarily in positions, houseless people, things like that. And it kind of trips you out. You kind of like, man. But when I was talking to my son, I said, man, when people come to this country, I said, you don't know where they've come from, right? They may have come from a position in life to where they had to walk a couple of miles to get some clean water. They may come position in life to where, they're eating the same type of food on a regular basis, or come from a situation of where it's just turmoil and war and all these different things, right? And I said, but when they get here, the smiles on their faces, the appreciation for just the small things, they're always chilling and happy, right? For just being here. And I say, it changes our perspective, or a lot of things, you gotta kind of flip your perspective to say, you know what, I need to adopt that same mentality so that I can appreciate these things that a lot of us take for granted or consider really small or minuscule. Like they don't matter a lot to us, right? The cold water, the freshness, the electricity. When I was putting in the light for this live, I was like, who put this together, right? Who orchestrated the electric grid and put that together to where we can just plug things in? Life is so easy and good, and it's so easy to get caught up into looking at what you don't have, right? And we get caught up in experiencing a lot of no's, not right nows, and delays. And how do we process them, right? Especially if we're on a mission, we're on a path that we think we have a certain destination, we need to be there by a certain time. We have all these things in place. Dealing with a no or not right now. And a lot of times, there was a young lady who was on TikTok, and she has a lot of followers. I think she's been accumulating her followers since she's been in high school. And one of the things that she did was she shared her rejection letter live. And it was super interesting, like sharing the fact that you've been rejected from your dream live and being transparent like that. There was a lot of value in that, and a lot of times people just sit there and think that everybody wants to hear these success stories, right? And that's easy to tell a success story. So often, like social media, we talk about that a lot, right? Where social media, we oftentimes we put on these fronts just showing you the successful side of things. We're not showing you what our L's look like, right? Go to our last live and we'll talk about that, right? Because we don't talk about our L's enough. We don't talk about our no's enough. We don't talk about our rejection enough, because those are the things that actually make us human. Those are the things that people can relate to. When we talk about our successes all the time, like me being a bulletproof entrepreneur, I'm this and this and that. No, I'm not. I failed more times than I've actually succeeded, quiet as it kept. And I'll be more transparent in that, because I think that right there shows that, hey, I'm not alone in this. As we're going through our restaurant build out, I'm like, man, money doesn't, it just constant, constant, constant. And I'm thinking I'm unique in this situation. So you almost want to sit up there and like take it personal, because I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why am I getting picked on? And this is where you have to have the resources in place and to know where to go. And a lot of times, if you don't have those resources in place, ask the universe and he'll start to provide it. And I looked and I'm like, man, I need a story of inspiration. Am I the only one going through this? Some entrepreneurs will talk to you, some won't. Shout out to Sweet Red Peach. Always being a good mentor, great business person. I mean, they're just an amazing company. But that was, she sending her Instagram messages and she's just telling us business is hard. This is this and this and that. Look out for these particular things. So when you need the resources, God will provide them, and the universe starts to send these signs, right? But the most important thing is you have to have the right mentality to order. One, see them, and then two, attract them. So even if it's something like a no, something like you see as a rejection, right? You got to look a little bit deeper to say, well, why is this happening right now? Is it trying to build something in me in terms of tenacity, right? What's the point? How does this play a part in my everyday life? And sometimes you have to overanalyze things, not to the point of where you're not making sense, but you have to say to yourself, why am I getting this rejection now? Right? Why now? What is it going to build in me? Right? Everybody's been rejected. Jordan's been rejected. I could show you letters from me being rejected by Nestle, Time Warner. It was all because of background check. That was it. I was the ideal candidate. And this is before it became cool to be incarcerated, because now it's kind of cool. They call it formerly incarcerated. Back in my day, it was, you're a felon. We ain't messing with you, dog, at all. We're not even talking to you. So no matter what your grades are, no matter the situation, I was a stellar student, recommended by my professors. Nope. Now it may be different, right? And that's a beautiful thing. As time progresses, hopefully minds start to change, right? So we can start to look at things a little bit different. But that at that time, that was what it was. They wasn't, man, well, you big black 6'3", nah. Nah, bruh. We ain't messing with you. So I had to overextend myself, be super professional, kind of what I'm doing right now. This is my therapy, right? This is for me to really get the thoughts off my head that I have to bounce off of somebody. And you guys are a great sounding board, because some of you've been in my same situation. Some of you looking for inspiration, and all of us are trying to find some love from somewhere. So if I can give that to you guys in the form of a podcast, in the form of a video, so be it. But I've been rejected. I'm credit cards, females, jobs. And when you look back at your rejections, were they really rejections? Right? Because your no's, your not right nows, and your delays will have you looking elsewhere for resources. So sometimes that may not be your destiny, even though you may think so. You may think that this is what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life. I remember we had delusions of grandeur selling dope. Oh man, we getting ready to do this. We're gonna get the house, we're gonna get the store, No. Right? And sometimes those things that happen to you are meant to happen to you on purpose in order to guide you to the right thing. So if you didn't have the no and you just constantly keep getting yes on everything that you wanted, we have animal-like instincts, right? Oftentimes humans aren't logical. So the things that we want when we're teenagers, just imagine if we just constantly kept getting everything we wanted from the time we've been a child. We've probably seen some of those people that really spoiled adults. They still don't know how to act or appreciate what they have, right? But it's the no's that make us appreciate stuff. It's the things that we've been deprived from, right? Oftentimes, some of us have been deprived from our freedom. Whereas when you come home, you really appreciate it. You appreciate going into the stores. You appreciate going here. You appreciate talking to people outside of the prison wall. You appreciate just that freedom and you really take advantage of it. And it takes us some time, like I said, adopting an immigrant attitude. But when you come over here looking at it like, man, we got it good. Because it's all perspective. And the minute you start to change your perspective of, you know what, that negative was not necessarily a bad thing. I got rejected from that job. Yeah, I got rejected from Pepsi, but I don't see myself being a Pepsi person for the rest of my life. Because that rejection happened at Pepsi led me to over here, which led me to here, which led me to here, which led me to where we're trying to open this restaurant up. We're not trying, we are. So Pepsi very well may become a supplier. So you know, the funny thing is, it's like God is funny like that, right? Where he'll change the way you deal with this person. It may not be in the way that you anticipated, but they still may come around and have some type of interaction with you. So Pepsi may be a supplier of ours. Who knows? Right. And I see the rep and I'm like, I could have been that, but I'm this and I'm happy with that. Jay-Z says that all the time. Like, man, everything happens to you is for your good, even the negatives, even failing a class, even the rejection, a car breaking down, right? As long as it's not over, right? You had action. So that means that if the car broke down, you might have been prevented from being in an accident. I remember so many times where I'm like, man, dude just blew the light. Psst, right? Or, you know, you just these random things that stop you. You didn't get a chance to go there. Why? Then you find out later that wasn't really necessarily the best place for you, right? It wasn't necessarily the best fit for you. So we have to sometimes take our lumps, although this is kind of this episode and last episode are kind of on the same thing, right? Perceived L's, and we're talking about no's, not right nows, and delays, right? We perceive this as a loss. It's not a loss. Think about all the people that you've lost in terms of life. Like, there's a book called Secrets of the Vine by Bruce Wilkinson. Wilkinson or Wilkerson. But he talks about the secrets of the vine, and what he talks about is God. It is based on biblical writings or whatever, but the book is dope. And he talks about how God prunes things out of your life, takes it away, gets it away, right? So that you can really grow. So a lot of times, like removal is okay. I was talking to the homie, shout out to my boy Donna Meach, who gave me a call today. And we were talking about it. And he was like, man, do you feel like the business? I'm like, man, you know, I was a time. Like, shout out to him. You see, I got my shirt on today. I'm still sporting it because I'm still proud of the brand. But I'm okay with, but that was a time. Now I'm ready to move on. And I'm better at that now. I'm better at that now. Before I would hold on to things. Like, and a lot of times we oftentimes do that, right? There's some advice, and I'm trying to think where I got it from, but it talks about a chess player, right? And it talks about one of the mistakes that people make with chess is they try to correct their mistakes as opposed to being intentional about their further strategy. They try to go back and fix something, right? So a lot of times we go back and try to turn that no into a yes. And it's the whole time God's really trying to tell us something like, man, you don't really want this, dog. Yes, I do. Oh, man, no, you don't. You know, people thinking Google, oh, man, I want to go work for Google's. Yeah, man. Well, they have nap pods there, right? You know, and I've talked about this before, and I'll talk to my students about it all the time. And I said, any place that have nap pods in there means that they're working you so much that you're gonna have to go take a nap at some point in time, right? I don't want to be there that long to where I feel like I had to sleep here. Does anybody else? That's a really good question, right? But you know, if you got rejected from Google, sometimes it may be detrimental. Like, oh, I used to want to work for Google, but there may be a startup that's going to be the next Google that's available, that's tangible, that's wants you even more. But if you go to Google, there's a thing called opportunity cost, right? We talk about that in business class. Opportunity cost means that if I go do this, that I can't do that, then it's costing me the opportunity to do this, right? So when you talk about opportunity costs or something like that, in a sense of a Google position, you got to think about it. If I'm at Google, I can't be over here, right? So you got to think about your opportunities. So sometimes you look at an opportunity and say, okay, that I didn't get that play so that I can get this play, right? So like I'm married to the woman of my dreams now, but I thought the one before her, I was like, damn, this one, nah. God was like, nah, that ain't, nah, bruh, that's not her. She's her. But if you're over here with this one that you think is her, you'll never meet the real her. So this is where you got to look at opportunity costs and say, okay, well, what am I doing? What I have to even sometimes you have to tell yourself, no, I can't do that. I just man, I can't. Like me, going out. I see some of my homies on Instagram going out and drinking. My kids got shit in that first thing on Saturday morning. I ain't built like that anymore, homie. You know what I'm saying? So I have to self-regulate myself. So self-discipline requires you to tell somebody no beforehand, right? For you to turn down opportunities. They often say there's more power in your no's than your yeses, right? It's more important to say no to things. Not it, people always say what you say yes to. No, 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 no. It's what you say no to. So what you say, nah, not right now. That's not gonna work for me. Right. So we could flip this whole conversation to show that it's two sides to no's, not right nows and delays, right? It could be happening to you, or you could be positioning them, right? Because we can't say yes to everything, right? We'll be spread too thin. And oftentimes, our ego gets us caught up into saying yes to every damn thing, especially if you're in a position like, people ask you to come talk or whatever, right? Shout out to my boy Kev. He asked me to come talk, but we got a different type of relationship, right? But there's people that may ask you to do things and you have to know when to turn it off. I'm not going to be able to do that so that I can do this, right? I wanted my summers back. When I was doing the tour, I was booked all summer. Didn't get a chance to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, like, man, okay, now I have the opportunity to go to the beach, go hang out with my kids, XYZ. I had to sacrifice some. I had to say no to a business. So what do you want to do? Right? This is the real question. What do you want? You want more time? You can always get more money. You can't get that time back. And I had to realize that. So I realize that now I'm really, really, really protective of my time and I spend it wisely. I'm getting better at it. And one of the things that I make sure I say yes to is exercise. I got my kettlebell down there, gym. Got my walks. I go to View Park and walk, man. You guys ever want to know a dope walk in LA, man? Make sure you go up that way. It's amazing. You can see damn near the whole city. But I get my laps in. So I have a program throughout the week, man. Connect with the certain folks, da 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 da. Work on the doctoral stuff that I need to work on. Not in the program yet. I want to specify that, but the pre-work that you have to do. Although I did get so part of this research group, and we published a paper. They got it actually in a journal, so it's my first actual publication that I'm part of officially. I've done a conference presentation, but now I'm actually part of an actual paper. So it's a big deal for me in terms of preparing myself for which direction I'm going in terms of academia. So I'm really excited about it. It sounds like some nerd shit, trust me, but it's a really big deal for me academically. So I'm really, really excited about that. So again, I've had to say no to certain things, but say yes to other things. So I'll say no to in terms of where I can spend my time, but I say yes to a lot more reading, right? Um, I say yes to more time with my kids. So if they need more things to do, I'll go say yes to that, which in turn, I'll say no to other things. So you can't be everywhere all the time. And again, oftentimes where I talk about brands, you can't be everything to everybody, which means you can't say yes to everything. And no's are perfectly fine. Not right nows are fine. My college, it was a not right now situation, right? Didn't get in my first time, didn't even apply. This is this is another thing. And I think it was in the book called CD Baby. No, the guy who did CD Baby. Oh, I'll look at the book. Oh, but he talks about that. He talks about how oftentimes we tell ourselves no before someone else tells us no. So we won't apply for a job because the job description is too complicated or says you need this degree. You got to be like a busted dude with a lot of confidence in life. And I'll prefer that. Let me set that up, right? So when you think about a dude, you've seen these guys, right? Where they're not the best looking, they're not in the best shape, but they have the most confidence. And they go up and crack any female. You know what I'm saying? Like one of them kind of dude. You like this dude, how did he do that? Because he was confident. He didn't care. And you have to have when you go through life, you have to have that confidence where you don't care. I'm gonna try anyways. I might hit it. I'm not hit it like that, but I'm saying I might hit whatever target I'm trying to hit, right? I might, you guys get my point. But you have to be like that, right? You have to be selective and I'm going out. Okay, well, shit. Even if I can't get the job, let me try. Worst they can tell me is no. Worst she can tell me is no. That's it. And no doesn't mean necessarily no in its final. It means not right now. It means maybe the timing was off. It means maybe you didn't have your stuff all the way right. It means maybe just there's a few things that you need to get together before you get to this point in life, or approaching this particular person, or approaching this particular opportunity. I'm not necessarily now, if I would have had an opportunity to start a business when I first started business school, like I thought I was, man, I didn't know shit. I still don't know a lot. That's the crazy part about it. The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know shit. I'm telling you, it is a lot of information out there. A lot of thought, a lot of difficult thought. But I've been immersing myself in that, right? I position myself in impossible opportunities. I'm the ugly dude going after tens all the damn time. That's what I do for a living. I'm the ugly dude that goes after tens. So rejection is high. The risk of rejection is super high, right? Because these are the but, and this is a big but. If I do crack something, if I do meet that, right? If I do hit that number, that's it. I don't need anything. Same thing with my wife. That was the 10. Got rejected at first. You know what I'm saying? Didn't quit. Bad timing, right? Same thing. There's a lot, these situations exist all the time. And a lot of times we take the rejection and say, oh man, whoop, 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 and we burn the bridge. Ah, F that. Whoa, 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 da, 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 da. Torch the bridge, right? Nah, man, it just might be closed right now. Just might be a detour. The bridge is still there, dog. They might open up. It was a flood, so you couldn't pass this. You know what I'm saying? Natural things happen. But a patient, understanding, optimistic individual knows that good things take time. Good things oftentimes are coated in rejection. So you have to have thick skin. You have to have a long-term plan. What is my long-term plan? How does this affect that? Okay, well, I'm not quitting on the first sign of trouble, the first sign of an obstacle. Why would I quit now? I'm built different than this, right? The goal means too much to me, right? And this is the thing. Like I went skinny in on the restaurant, bought all the equipment. We doing all that. Lease sign, deposit, keys, whole nine. Ain't no turning back now. The boats are burned. Period. We ain't no retreat. It doesn't happen. It's not happening. So we can't quit. So I'm in for the long haul. Dealing with rejection during that, yeah, absolutely. Things aren't going the way I anticipated, but they're going the way the universe already had planned for me. And once I accept that, I start to attract other things in my life that make sense, that are conducive to that dream, anyways. But you have to be in appreciation mode. That's the key right there. So even if you are being rejected, even if you're dealing with no's, you got to get your appreciation up. You got to adopt the immigrant attitude. You got to see things through a different lens because it's gravy out here. And the more things that we pay attention to that we're appreciative of, the more we'll receive them. Right. And don't be Cut toxic people off, right? There's a lot of no's, and these include people. You got to get rid of them sometimes too. It's just what it is. You got to cut it off, right? Especially if it doesn't make sense. They ain't talking the same language. Some people, I just, that conversation is so important. I talked to somebody probably for about 30, 40 minutes, and I felt bad afterwards. Like the conversation that they were talking about wasn't really my forte. That's just like you going around somebody, you a solid person. They just start talking about, how they gonna rob somebody and who they done robbed and how they had them tied up. And it just, after a while, it's just not gonna sit with you the right way. You just like, man, I don't do that, homie. So I don't, I don't. And and the thing about influence is we think we're immune to it. Just being around that conversation, just being around a negative conversation, being around a sexist conversation, being around a racist conversation, being around a conversation where people are constantly dropping F bombs are going to make you start to drop them. Influence is something else, my brothers. I'm telling you. So you got to be on your, this sisters too. I ain't just talking to the homies, but you got to be on your guard with your mind. Because the minute that boredom sets in, the minute that you got that type of conversation, that negative, or you don't have anything to kind of supplement and you're not full in terms of your day and in terms of content and in terms of direction and intention, you're going to drift. And it's going to start with boredom. And then you're going to go online and you're going to see other people and it's going to have you feeling some type of way. Get intentional with this, homie. I'm talking to myself a lot, dog. Trust me, because that's how it happens to me. I start drifting. I start, okay, well, let me look on social. Nah, nah, nah. Oh, look at such and such. Nah, let me get back to Khan Academy. Let me get back to my book that I'm finished reading. That's part of my research project. Let me get back to what I'm supposed to be doing. And once you shift back that focus, all that stuff starts to fall to the wayside, anyways. But it's that mindset that we have to have, right? That intentional mindset, that really, really myopic mindset. I know it sounds counterproductive, but we have to have that myopic mindset where I'm not really letting too much penetrate me. I'm not really entertaining too many weirdo thoughts and off the wall thoughts that aren't really making sense, right? That don't make sense to me, right? Because everybody has their own philosophy in life and the way they live their life. That's up to you. But when it starts affecting my mental because I'm talking to you and this is the only thing that you know how to talk about, nah, I got to talk to other people. Now I'm finding myself in other circles. But again, like we talked about last time, this is where imposter syndrome kicks in because they're out of your league right now, right? Not talking permanently, right? Right at the moment. And this can change and it is changing. I'm studying every day. I mean, every single day. Not one day that I don't look at my work, right? Whether it's SPSS, whether it's Khan Academy, really understanding the math side of the statistics, the chi-square, ANOVA, regression, multiple regression, any of that statistical stuff, every single day, homie. And I don't talk about it. I don't put it on. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm just grinding. So yeah, I may not be getting richer financially, but the brain is homie. And my kids, like the math is real, it's getting easier and easier. And this is and again, these plays that you do now may be long-term plays. They're gonna affect me in terms of my pursuing my doctorate, but then at the same time, my kids are getting ready to be doing high school math in the next few years. I need to be pretty tight on that stuff. So this is all part of the plan, right? But the degree of difficulty and also the risk of failure extremely high. So the stress is there. So I have to find things to balance me out. So that's why I talked about my exercise program, and it's a pretty regular one. I'm also a professor. I teach students, usually have 3 or 4 classes per semester. So I'm juggling that, trying to make sure that they pass and all these different things and making sure that I inspire them as well. So, a brother's plate is full, but everybody has shout out to Ian Williamson too, the dean of the College of Business in Irvine, the Paul, how do you say it? I want to say it, Mirage School of Business. One thing he said everybody has 24 hours. I do, you do. How you spend yours is up to you. So being efficient with your time, I think, is probably the key, right? Just managing your time, knowing when you need to do things, right? This is maybe one of them. Right? You might, okay, for Tuesday at 5, I'm gonna tap in with D. See, he's talking about, give me a little book suggestion, and I'm out. Then I'm gonna go read that book. If you guys do that, like just at least read some of the stuff that I suggest. And I don't suggest stuff just that people are paying me. I'm telling you the books that I'm actually reading. And I just got this other one that's still on the law of attraction. So it's still on that, but it's really, really good. It talks about the magic of manifesting. I think it's money, if I'm not mistaken. But that's something I really believe in. And if people don't believe in it, it's not going to work for them. And what I do want to stress is everything doesn't work for everybody, and that's okay. What I stress on this platform is that this is what's working for me. And if it does work for you, beautiful. I'm happy. I'm really excited. But if it doesn't, I want you to find what does work for you. Now, some of the foundational principles that we talk about on these podcasts are still there. Watch your company, right? Watch your mouth. You got to watch your mouth. What you speak about is what you'll get. Period. It's not even, there's no, I don't, science, what you talk is what you'll get. What you believe is what you'll get. So make sure that your mouth and your brain, you're talking to the right people and then you're absorbing the right information. You have to. It is so critical and key. I cannot stress that enough. You have to have the right circle around you. The speaking whatever you're working on into existence. So if it's pursuing a degree, if it's pursuing a business, you need to talk to business owners because they're going to understand. You talk to somebody who's never started a business, they're going to talk on emotion. So they're going to get emotional about, well, why you ain't, whoa, 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 whoa. Have you done this before? Okay. Let me talk to somebody who's done this before because they're going to be super calm and they tell, man, that happens. I remember when I did and they're going to tell you a story where they were in the same situation. And it's going to be unbelievably comforting because you haven't heard it before. You thought you were the only one on this island of entrepreneurship, doing what you're doing, broke, breaking yourself, questioning your existence, questioning your investment, et cetera, et cetera. But that voice of reason comes from somebody who's been in the same shoes as you. That's the difference. You talk to somebody who hasn't been in the same shoes as you, they talk on emotion. This is probably why they haven't been in business. So business requires a set of it requires you to be a really, really disciplined person, mentally, physically, financially, and everything else. Right? Right now, we're learning how to be frugal, for sure. Right? Because a lot of our capital is invested into the restaurant. That equipment is expensive, very expensive. We went pretty much brand new with everything. So that's part of the investment, right? But now I got to take my eyes off of that and let God work the rest of the magic. I did my heavy lifting. God, I guess now let me go do some other heavy lifting. Let me go over here, right? Because if you're working on that, you got to go do what you got to do and then walk away from it and then go start to work on the things that you can control. So in the process, by me looking at it, it's just like looking at a pot of water on a stove. It's not gonna boil until I turn my back. So let me turn my back and focus on this other thing. So oftentimes you may be in the same situation where the thing isn't moving the way you wanted it to move. It's not moving fast enough. It's not there yet. You're like, man, what is the problem? Why is it taking so long? Well, God got to move a lot of things in order to make yours work in consistency or consistent with everybody else's requests as well. So just imagine that. God's got a drive through similar to McDonald's, right? We're all putting our orders in, but just imagine that times a million. Everybody putting their orders in, and he has to orchestrate it to where yours gets delivered to you at the right time, knowing where you are in the world. That's the magic of what God's doing based on our requests. So if it's taking a long time, don't get mad. Be patient. Understand that it takes a lot of coordination in order to make everybody's dreams come true. Yours isn't immune. Yours isn't put off. You just may have to wait your turn in line. That's just the way it is. So the delays are fine. That's okay. It doesn't mean that the kitchen's overloaded. It doesn't mean God's overwhelmed with your request. God is omnipresent. He can do whatever. So it doesn't matter. Your requests aren't too much for him. Why it hasn't been delivered? That's between God and the blessing. And the blessing is always, always on time. All right, man. That will conclude our weekly tap in. Let me go ahead and pull up the book title. Let's see, Audible that I've been listening to, man. Really digging it. Just got it today. Well, I got it yesterday, last night. A couple books I told you guys about. So let me pull these up. If there any questions, you can go ahead and leave them in the chat right now, man. I can try to get to them. If not, man, we are going to do it again next week. So let me see. All right. Go ahead and share this with you guys, man. Love sharing books, man. It's one of the best things that let me see. One of the things that I really love to do. So this is Money and the Law of Attraction right here. Heat, heat, heat. I tell you no lies. It is so two books that I'm listening to. I'm actually listening to Ask and It Is Given, which is also by the same authors, and then Money and the Law of Attraction, Learning to Attract Wealth, Happiness, and Health. I mean, dynamite books. I mean, I can't stress that enough. If that's your thing, right? If you're not into that, you like more Robert Greene style stuff. Robert Greene's cool. It's a little bit manipulative to me. I read all that stuff. You know, those are books that they should give you your normal issue when you get to the pen. You're gonna read 50 laws of power, all this stuff, 48 laws of power. Da, 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 da. Well, I went a different route. I went Positive Mental Attitude by Norman Vincent Peale. I mean, I think it's not Norman Vincent Peale, but the magic of PFA. What else was I reading? Psycho Cybernetics by I had all kind of stuff. I was different, right? But this is a really, really good book. I have The Way of the Superior Man. Now, this is mainly for men, right? This is really a good book for men. Women, you could dig it too, but it's a book in terms of just the way you need to operate as a man, right? There's certain things that we need to do as men in order to maintain the respect of a female, but it tells you, especially if you're bickering a lot with your girl, The Way of the Superior Man will definitely help you out. It's one of Nipsey Hussle's recommendations as well. And then the last one I will show you guys is that I'm listening to is Asking Is Given. Where is it? I got some heat on here, don't I? I'm trying to tell y'all. Hold on. Stop fixing yourself. Where is it, dude? Let me see. Oh man, I got so much stuff in here. I can go. But this is the importance of it right now. There goes Psycho Cybernetics, man. Updated and expanded. So I told you guys, I got this stuff. So Asking Is Given, the process. I got 2 of these books, man. So I invest in this stuff a lot, and this is why this is mood maintenance. This is mind maintenance. This is constantly. This is having tools in your garage. This is having oil in your garage where you don't have to go outside to actually tune yourself up. You could do it from right where you stand. You can get these books. I got a subscription, it's $14 a month. That's what, $3.50 a week. That's less than $1 a day, right? $3.50 a week, less than $1 a day. And I get this kind of game. Whenever I want to put on my phone, I can have it go to my this. I don't want to say it because they'll start talking. I can have it doing all that. And you can listen to it whenever you want to, right? Pause it, pick it up when you're in the kitchen, da 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 da. It is one of the best things that you can have. I promise you. So those are my book recommendations for this week. Make sure you come back next week. We're gonna tap back in. Not leaving you guys, man. This is gravy for me, man. This is beautiful, man. It allows me to do a lot, and I really, really appreciate you guys allowing me to connect with you. And I will see you guys next week. Tapping out.